What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? What is going on today? We're going to be talking about a Peacekeeper PK SMG build for y'all that is utilizing the new changes to SMGs, target lock, and then, of course, with the changes coming in Heresy here in a few days, the PvP realm is going to be revamped, so this build is going to be absolutely dapping up and is meta. So, with these Peacekeepers that we got, we're going to be using that mecha holster. Well-wielding an SMG, handling, airborne effectiveness, and movement are all improved, as well as damage against combatants will increase the longer we are on the target. SMGs also reload when stowed, so for me, been pairing it with a sniper, but we're getting increase in damage, target lock on these SMGs with increased movement speed, airborne effectiveness. Handling this thing is absolutely disgusting, and we're gonna pair it with the Void Titan because I think that is more oppressive inside of 3's competitive things than the prismatic version of Titans, especially in Heresy once it gets nerfed, where there's not going to be as many diamond lances flying around. This nice overshield Void Titan is going to reign supreme. So, starting us out right here in our Sentinel, for me, I'm going to be using Twilight Arsenal. You can really use whatever you're feeling, but this just felt the best. You're shutting down supers, you get those axes for afterwise, where you can do even more damage, get those defeats. For me, I'm going with Towering Barricade, our Strafe Lift with Shield Bash, and then for me, I like Scatter Grenade. Does the most damage in my personal opinion, feels the best with creating volatility, especially stuff like that with our aspects and fragments that we got. Controlled Demolition is hitting a target with those void abilities or volatile explosions makes them volatile, so our Shield Bash as well as our grenade is going to make enemies volatile. Further damaging these volatile targets causes them to explode, so we are able to get a nice big old bunch of defeats with this because you can get one person volatile, do some damage, they're gonna explode, it's gonna spread volatility, everybody's gonna be hurt. You can get those annihilations really easy, wiping out a 6s if you will in some of those more control based Iron Banner based game modes. Bastion right here, when we cast our super we get an overshield. Casting our barricade also grants us an overshield to us and nearby allies. Super important to throw this on because that overshield definitely suppressive, oppressive, whatever you want to say for in the Crucible. Super good. For our fragments with this bad boy, I'm going to be using Echo of Leeching, melee final blow, start health regeneration for us and our nearby allies. Very good because of that volatility that we're going on. We're going to get melee defeats to proc as well as just with a normal melee. Doesn't even have to be a powered one. If you get a shotgun than just a normal melee, you're going to get your health to start to regen, so super important for keeping you alive in some of those scuffles that you got in the Crucible. Echo of Dilation, well, crouch, we sneak faster, gain enhanced radar, plus we get 10 to mobility and intellect. Definitely like throwing this on because you can crouch around, you can throw on your rally barricade if you want, so it can pair with this Echo of Dilation. Totally up to you. Echo of Expulsion right here, avoid ability, final blows cause targets to explode, so pairs with both of these very well, as well with the Controlled Demolitionist, getting that extra volatility explosion, pairs with the Expulsion right here, so like I said, we are getting a lot of AoE defeats on this as well, plus Echo of Exchange, melee final blows grant us grenade energy, just a little internal feedback loop for us so we can really spam those abilities, get volatility spreading around like wildfire. When we move on to our stats as well as our mods that we're going to be using, for me, I went with Resilience as my number 1, Recovery as my number 2, and then I tried to go Discipline, Intellect, Strength as close as I could get to 50, if not higher altogether, so you can see they're all at 60. I wish I could get this one up to there, so it would be a nice, beautiful little 4-1-1-6-6-6, but you know, you can't be choosers if you will, if I'm bagging about it. But for me over here with what we're going on, I guess all of these kind of depend on what weapons you are going to be using. Arc targeting, stasis reloader, unflinching arc right here, totally up to you and the weapons that you're going to throw on, so we'll cover that in a second. But for me, I do like bolstering detonation so we can get that class ability as often as possible to get that overshield for us and our fellow guardians, as well as fastball right here. I personally like having fastball on most of my Crucible builds. It feels weird having to lob some of these grenades in my personal opinion. Totally personal preference for that one. We covered those. We can go over on our boots. This is pretty much what I always use in the Crucible. Orbs of Restoration with Absolution, so when we do pick up Orbs of Power, we're going to get all of our abilities basically to get a little bit of cooldown going on, and then Recuperation, another way for us to get some health back when we do pick up Orbs of Power, so a good little survivability as well. Reaper right here helping us to create more Orbs of Power with double Bomber on, so when we do throw down our shield for that overshield, we're going to get our grenade back, and then of course, like I said, the orbs going to help us to proc all 3 of these on our boots. As for weapons that I threw on this bad boy, for me, like I said in my past video, we got the 600 RPM SMGs are absolutely dapping people up with that target lock on, something like this with the Sire's Wrath. Even this perfect pitch, yes, it doesn't have target lock, but it is feeling really, really good. So I was throwing on all of these. Really, the Sire's Wrath and Unending Tempest were my 2 go-tos, so that's where that arc targeting, stasis targeting totally comes in to. If you're using something else, you would have kinetic targeting for your Eye of Soul with void targeting for your Sire's Wrath. So totally up to you with your combination of weapons, but I personally think our 600 RPMs are definitely the best SMGs right now, especially if they have target lock. We do obviously have our other ones, 900 RPMs, Immortal, stuff like that, so you can pick and choose what you want to go with, but these are my personal favorites to use right now for sure. And then heavy, I went with Hammerhead. You could really throw on anything you want, but I like Hammerhead the best right now, especially pairing it with something if I have like void targeting on. Now, last but not least, this Slayer Apothecary Satchel isn't really going to matter for us in the Crucible as much, especially in the upcoming seasons. Obviously, it's going to go away, but for me, really on this build, nothing crazy is happening besides breaking a Guardian's Shield. In their super, we're going to get Orbs of Power with this. In the thick of it, Final Blows when we are surrounded going to give us Armored Charge, which we aren't really using, but if we can get Devour active somehow with one of our other ones with Weakening, other teammates, stuff like that. But old God's right, if we pick up a Void Breach, it is going to create Void Weapons, going to create Seeking Projectiles, Supernova, Void Weakening breaches are going to give us a nice pulse of that, so we can get some of these other ones to proc. But like I said, this artifact really isn't super important for this build in my personal opinion. Does well without the artifact. You're going to do super well in Heresy in a couple days here, especially with the changes coming for trials, stuff like that. So you guys got to be ready for some new loot, new reward systems, so you don't got to go flawless. This thing is going to help Guardians to dap up the Crucible. Definitely give it a try out. Titans, this thing is sick, so hopefully y'all can test this bad boy out. We got only a couple days, like I said, until Heresy, so be on the lookout for a lot of videos coming out Tuesday and on forward from Heresy, because we're going to have new weapons, new artifact mods, stuff like that, or I should say fragments that we're getting. It is going to be a lot going on, so be ready for that. Appreciate you guys. Don't be afraid to like and subscribe, hit that bell if you have not. Helps me out, helps the channel out a bunch, and just appreciate all you guys as well. So I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.